This is a lunch and learn just for balancing blood sugars, budgets, and busy schedules. So for today, I'm gonna primarily be going over ways to balance blood sugar and just a little bit of like the background that goes into nutrition and just balancing out your meals. And then hopefully if we have time, we're gonna weave in picky eating and meal planning into it too, just because that's something that I think everybody has to manage at some point or another, especially with any of the families or clients that you're working with. So I'm happy to be interrupted, but I'm probably going to cover your question, so just be mindful. One of the bigger things to go over with when we're focusing on nutrition is our whole behaviors are impacted by what our values are. So when we think about your behavior is shaped by the identity that you create in response to your environment. So for example, for me, if Donna makes bannock and she says, hey, do you want to have some of this right now? And I just had lunch. I'm going to tie in all my values in what my behavior is going to be in response to that. So she made something, I'm full, so my physical needs, I'm not going to choose to eat that food because I'm not hungry enough for it. But from a mental, spiritual, and emotional, I might say, well, I want to honor the fact that she is sharing this with me at all. I want to know what hers tastes like. Maybe I'm a little bit curious about having that. I want to share that experience with her and show my appreciation. So that's where I can kind of tie in other values that I have. If I know that she's kind of like not really bothered by the fact that if I eat it or not, she's just kind of offering it for no reason, maybe I won't kind of have that idea of that value in influencing my decision. So I just wanted that to be something that guides how you view food and the decisions you're making, because it's all about what your values are and your response is based off of what you've been experiencing your whole life. So we'll kind of weave that in throughout this whole piece, but what I hear a lot from clients is that they say that they're lazy. Like, oh, I'm just lazy, like I didn't meal prep, or I'm just this, or I'm just this. And that's what we're saying our identity is, when really it could be you're not lazy, but you're just emotionally exhausted. You've got way too big of a cognitive load on your plate, and this is one thing that you're doing for yourself to kind of push off that. So we're just going to reframe how we think about ourselves and why we make the decisions we do. Anything. Nutrition basics. Okay, so I wanted to break this down a little bit because we get kind of, we talk about calories all the time. It's getting put on any kind of fast food sign when we go to Tim's, if you're going to Wendy's, like you'll see the calories listed beside a food, but we don't actually know what that means. So this is where we're going to do a little bit of the background on it. Calories are the world's greatest gift. We love calories. Calories are everything. They allow you to do everything in the body. When we were born, whoever our caregiver was at the time, as long as we were provided with calories, we were able to have our kidneys work, we were going to breathe, we were going to blink, and we were going to do everything. So as long as you have that energy accessible, things can function. Where we get calories from are from 3 different things in our food. So you can either get it from fat, so that's listed on this little nutrition label. You can get it from the carbohydrates, or you can get it from the protein. And most foods are a collection of those 3 things. But when we look at a nutrition label, the iron in a food is not going to have calories. The sodium in a food is not going to have calories. It's just these 3 pieces. So they all function a little bit differently. And just to further categorize carbohydrates, they are listed even on this little nutrition label. There's fiber, so it says dietary fiber on the left-hand side there. Then it says sugar, so that's on the left-hand side. And then everything that isn't sugar and fiber is going to be starch. So the reason I wanted to break that down is just for, we're going to look at the differences in how these function in the body, because that's why we are choosing to have these foods, and this is why we can have certain symptoms that we've been experiencing. So when we're craving sugar, it can be your body not having access to it and just trying to get what it needs. And we're going to go over the food sources too. So, who here is to make a fire? Nice. When you are going to make a fire, what is the first thing you're going to light on fire? You have all your little loggies in place, and you got your match or your lighter. What are you going to light first?
Your match?
Yes. What is the match going to light on fire?
Kindling? Like kindling?
Kindling. Paper. Why? Why would we light that on fire? Why wouldn't I just stick a lighter straight to the log?
Because it burns faster and easier.
Yes! Yes, Adam. Nailed it. So sugar is like the kindling or the twigs. Sugar is something that burns very quickly because it's smaller, but it doesn't last very long. So if I was going to put a bunch of paper on a fire, it's going to burn very brightly, but not for very long. Starch, on the other hand, is something that's like a log on the fire. So it's going to take a bit before it gets burning, but once it's lit, it's going to be lit for a longer period of time. So we're going to try and aim to have starches more at our meals because that's something that's going to last a little bit longer. It's not going to be burning really, really bright and then make us crash right after. It's something that is going to be more sustainable and manageable for our body to deal with. So, sugar and starch are going to be the things that provide glucose or make your blood sugar go up. Protein, fat, and fiber are going to be the things that slow down how quickly your blood sugar rises. So we're going to go through the sources like I was saying, but just as an example, if I have a starch, so starchy, something like a piece of toast, bread. If I have that on its own, it's going to make my blood sugar rise fairly quick. But if I decided to have my toast with an egg, which is a protein, maybe I put, I fry that egg in a little bit of oil in a pan, and then I have it with a piece of fruit on the side. Now, instead of my blood sugar kind of spiking and going back down, it's more delayed. It slows it down and makes a mountain more of a hill. So that's a way to kind of make our blood sugar more regulated. So, just so that you kind of have the visual in place, this little green range is where your blood sugar is supposed to be. This is where you want it to be. There's a happy guy right there. If I decide I'm not going to eat anything, and I'm going to skip breakfast, my blood sugar, I'm still going to be using sugar. Even me right now, I'm using sugar just to stand here. I'm going to use the sugar all day, all morning, and my blood sugar is going to go low, 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 low. It will never get too low, but it's going to set off an alarm at this point. Big old danger is when we skip meals all morning and we get to this point. Oh no. Danger. So in response to basically your fire being burnt out, what do you think your body's going to want?
Sugar.
Sugar. Because it's going to want to light your fire back up again. Because no matter what, you're still thinking, breathing, and doing things. So this is where we'll typically crave things that are higher in sugar. So we'll demonize ourselves and say, again, it's tying back to our identity. Oh, I did this. I'm lazy. I didn't do this. But really, your body is trying to keep you safe. So it's saying, hey, you're tired, burnt out. I know that you still need to kind of crush a lot of the adulting in your day. Why don't we just have maybe pick up an ice cap, grab something from the Centex, grab a pop, just to keep you going and to light your fire back up. So it's nothing that we need to demonize ourselves for, but it's just that your body is just responding with the best kind of mode of action. So instead, what we could try and do is make sure that we honor our body's needs, and that could be, again, like the eggs, toast, and fruit. Makes your blood sugar kind of rise, and then as we kind of go to the 10 a.m., 11 a.m., we start to kind of have a lower blood sugar, we get hungry, now we have a sandwich. or whatever it might be. So we have some starch coming from the bread, we have the fruit on the side, we might have some meat as the protein, and the cheese can be the fat. So that's gonna have the rise, and then maybe we make like a hearty stew or soup for when we come home. Maybe that's been in the slow cooker all day. Potatoes are gonna be the starch, the meat is gonna be your protein, you have some carrots and celery in there, that's your fiber, and then the fat from the meat is gonna be your fat. So, sometimes people don't really have an appetite in the morning. Oftentimes that's because when we're very stressed in the morning, we have a lot of adrenaline on board. So adrenaline zaps your appetite, and it's supposed to do that. Adrenaline is something that just says, hey, like, let's not focus on food right now, let's dial it in and get our stuff done. We don't have an appetite, we typically will have more heartburn because we're anxious. And that makes it really difficult to honor our body's needs and our body's wisdom, because as human beings, we need food in the morning. When your eyes see light, they need to have food. So it's just that in our day and age, there's so many things that can stress us out first thing in the morning. There's a lot of people that could be in the household. There could be a lot of different stressors. So we just are like, oh, Paige, there's not even a chance I could have a cup of yogurt right now. But if you're somebody who would prefer smaller kind of little meals, where you don't have a lot of time to eat, you could have, let's say, some yogurt and fruit before you head out. Then you come to work, you have a granola bar. So basically I've separated my starch, protein, fat, and fiber. So I'm getting my protein from the Greek yogurt and the fruit, and then I have starch and maybe some fat from the granola bar. Then I maybe have a small wrap for lunch. Then I do like some dip and some tortilla chips and veggies as a snack when I get home from work. It's just kind of snacky little option. And then I do a stir fry. So it can look different depending on your schedule and when your body is telling you it's starting to get hungry. So trying to make sure that you actually have an eating window in the day is very important. Because if we're busy and we don't have time, then we're not going to eat. We're going to skip the meal. All of this is for making your body feel safe and comforted. So it's about honoring what your body's needs are. Oftentimes we just kind of put this aside and we just say that we're going to truck through it, and then we get mad at ourselves for how our body responds to the lack of food earlier in the day, or how we are discrediting our needs. So this kind of all goes into the part of like, for reconciliation, honoring and acknowledging your needs, knowing what they are. Healing means actually going in and meeting your needs, and then the resilience is making sure that you're keeping your needs met. So planning ahead to make sure that you aren't going long periods of time where now you're not going to be honoring your nutrition. So, what the heck does a balanced diet even mean? So, going back to this whole part is what we need in our meals to function optimally is to get a log burning, so starch, then a protein, a fat, and a fiber. That's your big goal for your meals. So this is kind of how you would balance it, ideally. This is kind of a very generalized approach. It depends on the person and what their needs are. But this is kind of giving your body a nice little pop of glucose. You're giving yourself the building blocks. So I'll just show you here. You get your energy, that's the light bulb. You get the protein is going to be all of the building blocks of what you need. So for example, your hair is made of proteins. Your skin is made of proteins. All your digestive system, your fighting infections is made up of proteins. But we can't use those proteins without the energy source first, so we need a starch. And then in order to actually have the tools to do anything with them, we need fruits and vegetables. So they provide us with the vitamins and the minerals. And then fats help protect us. So if we even think about our hair is got an oil to it. And that oil that we release is going to protect the strands of our hair. Same thing with our skin. When we have fats in our diet, we get like a nice like skin barrier, so it prevents us from losing moisture and getting really dry skin. So having fats in the diet is really helpful too. So this is kind of our guide, is that we would have basically size of our fist would be about the starch that we would be having in a meal. So rice, pasta, bread. The palm of your hand is at least a great source for protein, and then 2 kind of handfuls of fruits and vegetables, either one, and then but for oil it's about the size of your thumb. These are your minimums, not your maximums. So oftentimes people will have more starch, or they'll say like, oh well, I have way more than a fist size. That's okay. This is just a starting point. It's just to make sure that you're getting enough for the average adult. So Josh and I went to No Frills a few years ago, and we filmed a video. And we did some snippets for just little tips and tricks for making sure that you can go into a grocery store and you can choose certain options. So I'm going to be sharing a few of those tips with everyone. Before we get to those, I wanted to know if anyone had any questions right now. Okay.
What if you're eating once a day at my age?
Right. Okay. The once a day one goes into effect too. So like going back here. So when we have the once a day, it's very difficult for our body to absorb all that nutrition at once. So, for example, calcium. What does calcium do? What's calcium good for? Bones. Your heart, your bones, your nails, your teeth, it's all really good for that. If I have a meal, I can only absorb about 300 milligrams of calcium in a sitting. So if I decided to have 1,000 milligrams of calcium, because I have one meal a day, this is the most perfect, most nutrient-dense meal there ever existed in the world. I wouldn't be able to get all my calcium met through that meal because I wouldn't absorb it all. So that's the tough part. It's kind of saying like, if you were unloading your car and you wanted to do everything at once, that would be really difficult to do. But if you did it in doses or different trips, it's easier to manage. So that's why multiple meals kind of makes it a little bit easier for your body to absorb it. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, what would be the impact of like someone, like say, one meal a day, but they try to justify it with like a multivitamin pill, well, multivitamin and plus an replacement drink like Ensure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be different things at play. So if you were just like, let's just say it's just I have one meal a day, but then I have a multivitamin. My next kind of fear would be the multivitamin won't have any starch in it. It won't have any protein in it. And it won't have any fiber in it. So that's the part that can kind of get difficult is now, okay, you say you're going to have the Ensure. So you might get some starch and some protein from that, or some sugar that's in the Ensure, but we wouldn't have any fiber, which would be the difficult part. And so fiber is what's going to push things along our digestive tract. We don't absorb fiber. It just goes in and comes out like a little slip and slide. But it's there to kind of push things out of the body. And so oftentimes we'll feel a lot more constipated because we only have that one big meal in there. And when there's only one big meal, we also don't get enough energy to support digestion later. So that's where we are typically will feel sluggish right after we eat. Is because so much energy is going into digestion. This is a whole workout. Like if I had lunch, my body is going to use so much energy to break down my lunch. But if I didn't have breakfast, what energy would my body be using to break down lunch? This is a question. Does anyone know?
Stored energy?
Could be stored energy, for sure. Usually it will kind of almost put your body on like an energy save mode. Like, you know, when your phone goes and gets dimmer when it's got a low battery, that's the same thing that can kind of happen. So even for me right now, I'm getting cold. My body temperature will go down if I haven't eaten enough. So I had a snack before this, so I'm having lunch after. But that's where my body's going to be saying that like, hey, we'll ramp down her body temperature because she needs to eat. Those are things that your body will do. But if I know I'm going to eat, it's not going to have enough energy on board to break down the food, the following food that I'm going to have. So typically you'll feel very sluggish, tired, not want to do anything. So that's that afternoon slump that people go through, is when they've skipped breakfast or not had anything to eat before. I get cold like this because I have Raynaud's, but it just shows more often, like when I haven't eaten. So just as a heads up. But that would just be something for, if you deal with that afternoon slump, try to see if you can eat something earlier in the day and make sure you have more calories on board earlier in the day. Because then your body's not going to be fighting as much, and you're going to have better digestion, because your body can actually make enzymes to break down your food. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Yeah? Any part we want clarified?
What if you had multiple snacks throughout the day? Like, a snack could be like a fruit or vegetables, whatever. Like, so typically, like in the morning, to have, I don't know, something on the go because you're late.
Mm-hmm.
Grab a banana or whatever.
Yeah.
You get to work and you eat a yogurt when you get to work. And then just before lunch hour, you're like, oh yeah, I had that apple sitting in there, so I'm gonna eat that. And then lunch, you're busy or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot to eat. I'm going to make a cup of noodles or whatever. But right after that, maybe half an hour later, like, oh no, I'm still hungry. I'm gonna have a cookie or something. Like, continuously like that. I think that's
Okay.
is to have, like, an hour later, I take fruits with me. I put a couple of fruits in my bags, and then I have cookies, and then water, and then juice, and then sneak in I don't know, an energy drink or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I get home, then there's supper.
You can do like the snack style kind of day.
Yeah.
That can totally happen. I think for a lot of like when we're on the go in the job and we don't have that dedicated time to eat, that works best for a lot of people. Something that you can have kind of on the go. The only thing I would just say is just making sure that you still are kind of meeting like all the components. So if we're going to be kind of looking at like getting like your starch, protein, fat, and fiber. So you're doing great on the fiber. Because for the fruits and vegetables, you grab an apple, you grab a banana, you're having that. For the starches, who can tell me what the starches were in the day based off of what you said?
Cookies or noodles.
Cookies, noodles. Perfect. Grab a granola bar on the way out. Those are your starches. Nailed it. What would be the protein?
Jerky.
Yogurt.
Beef jerky.
If you're having a quick snack, you could do jerky.
Don't rat me out, Adam.
So it's just the only thing is that if we're going to kind of do snack styles, making sure that you're getting enough protein there. Because protein is a tough one to do on the go. So even before this, like, I knew that I was going to be kind of delaying lunch a little bit. So I had a cheese string. So it was just something where I had like a little extra top up. And that's going to give me some protein and some fat. So that's something that can be quick and on the go. I also left on their table, there's edamame snack packs that you can get from Winners, which is like a very weird place to get food. But they're just high in protein and they're quick and on the go, just like a little crunchy snack that you can store in the car, have on the go. So those ones are good options. Or you can do things like protein bars as well, or make your own protein balls like we did at the elementary school. Josh and I, we basically just took the kids, we all gave them a bowl, and we put oats and peanut butter and nuts and seeds and stuff, and then we just got them to roll it together, and that's it. I was actually gonna like have those bowls like on the table today for everybody to make them, because they're really just done. And you can make it really quick and on the go. But so if you do the snacky, you can keep it snacky even throughout just the workday and then have your meal when you get home. So it can be kind of a hybrid model between meals and being snacky. Okay. Oh, here we go. Are you ready? Okay. So this is just going to give some tips on starches. If it's really long-winded, I'm going to cut it shorter.
All right, when it comes to choosing pasta, there's tons of different options we can choose from. This one here is only $2.14, and this one here, the no-name brand, is going to be $2.29. What's interesting about this one is that it is going to have a bunch of added vitamins and protein in there so that you can be feeling your best all day long. One of the big highlights is that it is a great source of iron. It's going to have 17% of your day's worth of iron, and it's also going to have 11 grams of protein. This is a great option for new moms who need to have a carb at their meal that will keep them satisfied but also have the nutrition they need. If we were going to look at the rice that's here, the rice is much more expensive than the pasta is, and the rice isn't going to have any protein really to it, only 4 grams for the serving. And no added nutrition in the vitamins and minerals section. Pasta would be a much better option to go for. As an alternative to rice, you can go for something like orzo. Orzo is a pasta product that has much more iron and much more protein in it to keep you satisfied with your meals. So this is something that could be an option for anybody that wants to substitute rice, and you'll just be boiling a pot of water, throwing in the orzo, and then leaving it for 10 minutes, and there you go.
Okay. So weaving in so much cringiness throughout this whole rest of the lunch and learn. So all I'm kind of highlighting there is that if budget is an issue and you have to make a choice, that pasta is fortified and it has a little bit more protein than rice does. Rice can still accompany tons of meals and be very nutritious. It's just that if you are kind of putting two together and you're saying, okay, well, what's going to be that better option, that the higher iron source is going to come from the fortified pasta. So this is that brand that I was talking about. So you can see kind of on this label. So this is also a brand that you can buy at the dollar store. And so it's cheaper than the no-name brand for pasta at Superstore. So this is only $1.40 for that one. And then you can boil that up and you can actually have a pretty protein-dense meal as well, because like I said, it was going to be 11 grams of protein in that. Does anyone know how much protein they should aim for in a meal as an adult?
26 grams.
26?
I think. Might be wrong.
Nice. That's awesome.
Anywhere between 20 to 30. Gosh dang. So when we look at that, having 11 grams, obviously that's not enough to meet our needs, but it's a lot better than just 4 grams. It's providing a nice amount of starch to it, vitamins and minerals. It's just like if you have nothing really in your house, you can at least have that and still make a pretty nutritious meal out of it. One more cringy video for starch. I'm sorry.
All right, so when it comes to instant noodles, these can be some products for quick and easy meals where all you have to do is add hot water. For this one, the deal is 4 for $4, so that would be $1 per serving. But there are some healthier options that are just as quick and easy. If we head down over here, we can see there's the vermicelli or rice noodles. So there is only going to be $2 for all of this, which could give us 8 servings. So what you do with the vermicelli noodles is you'll just boil the hot water, or you'll put the noodles into the water and then you just heat it up and it's ready in 2 minutes. So as an alternative to the instant noodles, you can have the rice noodles here that you just immerse in water or hot water, add some beef broth to that, and then you can have some leftover chicken from the night before or some beef, and then just add in some frozen veggies for a really quick and nutritious meal that's super affordable.
Who has cooked with vermicelli noodles before, or rice noodles? How hard is it? Super hard? tricky, overwhelming. I want to give everyone just like a little bit of grace on like, it is really, really scary to buy a new product because you don't know how it's going to go. Even for myself, sometimes like just when somebody says like, oh yeah, you should try this, you should buy this, I do like decision paralysis in the grocery store, being like, is this really going to be worth it? But rice noodles, you really, like, it's in little bundles. You take a bundle and you just need to put it in warm water. It just says warm. It doesn't even say hot. And then you can spice it with whatever you like. And the frozen veggies are just an easy way to get some fiber in. Maybe you have some sad spinach that needs a little love and it's only got 2 days left. You could throw that in there. Your favorite kind of sauces and spices, whether it's soy sauce, sriracha, anything. And then tofu is also an option. Very affordable. Or some boom options. When it's in the thick of kind of like we're looking at our paychecks and we're like, what could we do? Like looking at chicken in a grocery store is sad because it's definitely the most expensive these days. So just having alternatives is nice. Okay, so we're done. I'm gonna skip these ones. Okay. This is one thing that Tiffany has, I think she's got a plan for this in the future for the programs, but this is a type of infant cereal. You can use it as an adult. It's something that can go into smoothies. It's just a powdered cereal. It can go into a mac and cheese as like kind of like that crispy crumble topping. It can go into cookies, bannock, pancakes, anything. It's fortified with iron. So if you just want to add a little extra iron to certain foods, that you could do it with this. So I stockpile these for my sister when she was pregnant, just because her iron needs are higher. But just if you wanted to kind of take a peek at it, it's something that's, if you want to tell clients that they can add that to things, usually if they see it on sale, it's going to be less than $5. And then they can just sprinkle it into whatever they need to. So even like into applesauce for kids, like if they're just starting with solids, that can be something to get a little bit more iron in, because kids don't really love going for meat right away. And meat is the primary source of iron. Speaking of which, meat. So protein is going to be the building blocks for our muscles and our cells. It's not just our muscles, but it's for all of the tissues of the body. So I just wanted to kind of go over some quick tips for getting more protein in the day, or certain swaps that you can make.
So it's good for when you're looking at the meat section to find out where the deals are. So we can see here that there's going to be the honey ham for $4.49. And that one is going to be for 200 grams. Let's look at some other options. So if we're looking here at the sliced cooked ham or the smoked sliced bologna, these two are the same price. When we look here though, we can see that we're going to be getting much more protein from the ham, 8 grams here, and less saturated fat than the bologna. It's interesting also that for bologna, we can see that the first ingredient is mechanically separated chicken. And then you'll have some pork stop and some extra additives in there. Whereas the cooked ham has less additives put in there, and it's just going to be pork. So let's take a look at bacon now. So here we have some bacon, and it is smoked bacon from a pork product. So this is going to be $6.99 for the 375 grams. But we could also go for something like a turkey bacon. It's going to be the 375 grams as well, and it's going to be even cheaper. It's going to be 50 cents cheaper with less additives, less calories, and more protein there. Great option. When we are comparing both the turkey bacon and the regular bacon, we can see that there's going to be, almost for the same amount of protein, that there's going to be 3 times as much calories in the regular bacon with more sodium. And those calories are going to be coming from saturated fat, which is an issue to look at. It's something that is going to put more strain on your heart and is going to put you at risk for other chronic conditions when we consume saturated fat in such a large amount.
So the reason I went over that is just that oftentimes we think that the healthier choice is going to be the more expensive one. That was one right there where it had less sodium, less saturated fat, but it was going to be cheaper in the long run. And that's just doing the turkey bacon. I am fully aware that turkey bacon and regular bacon do not taste the same. There's a vast difference there. It's just about like if there's something that you want to maybe see if a swap could be a good fit for you and your family, that buying turkey bacon isn't going to break the bank. And it will leave you fuller for a longer period of time than just regular bacon will. Just because bacon has more of that fat, it doesn't have that satisfying or that satisfaction of having protein. And that's also why we can feel even more snacky on a day when we have limited protein, because your body's trying to find protein in whatever it can. So I was showing on the pasta still has some protein in it. Your cookie still has some protein in it. So if you have 7 cookies, you could meet your protein needs that way. So sometimes we develop cravings when we're not getting something in another area. So it's really tough to feel full and satisfied on a limited protein diet. So that's why we want to kind of ramp it up where we can. It's just that protein foods are expensive. So there's another tip here, I think.
So as I mentioned, ground beef and meat products that are a little bit on the pricier side, you have options for spreading them out over multiple meals or stretching out to feed the entire family by adding things like lentils to it. So for example, a chili or a bolognese sauce, you can add in some lentils, just open up the can, drain it, rinse it, and then add it right into your ground beef so that you can have some protein as well, but also lots of added fiber too.
So I actually pulled this move last week. I had family coming over. There was a lot of like bringing food over the past few days, and at this point we didn't want to go out for food. We wanted to just have like a home cooked meal, but I was kind of freaking out to serve 6 people with only 1 pound of ground beef. So I had lentils kicking around in my pantry. Put those in there. I added some potatoes that I had in the house, and then I had it with buns on the side and some frozen veggies. It's soup. Soup is soup. But it's just a way that if you have to feed more people, that you can add beans just so you could stretch it a little bit further. Lentils are also going to be a great source of protein, iron, and magnesium, and some fiber too. So just to keep everything going. I think that's it for the protein part.
When it comes to yogurt, we have a ton of options. And what's best is to choose a yogurt that is nice and high in protein. So these activity yogurts are going to be a little bit lower. Let's head over to the Greek yogurt. So there are the different brands of Greek yogurt here, and it's really hard to define which is going to be the best deal with what size, because we have smaller sizes, larger sizes, and then the tubs. What I like to look at is something called the unit price. The unit price is going to tell you how much it costs per 100 grams to make that easier. So you'll be looking at what is going to be the lowest unit price. This one we'll say is 0.84 per 100 grams. That's pretty low, but let's take a look at this tub. This tub says 0.79 per 100 grams. This one would be the better deal.
So you can kind of see like right in here, so it says 0.79 down at the very bottom underneath. Who uses the unit price? This is new information? Okay. It's something that's like really like a good easy one, just because especially for yogurts, like they always come in different sizes, and then you don't really know what's going to be the best deal. But it's what I would use the most of instead of like going towards specific brands that you think are going to be cheaper, because sometimes they're not. Like I thought the no name brand would have the cheaper pasta, but actually that Italian pasta is more nutritious and it's cheaper. So just like looking at the price there. Oh, I love the popcorn stuff, so good. Okay, so fruits and vegetables, honestly pretty self-explanatory.
one thing that's common is the cost of berries. Berries can be pretty pricey, and it's good to look at the prices here that will have $4.99 for a small thing of raspberries, or we have the $8.99 for these blueberries. We can see how the frozen vegetables might be a better decision. So these blueberries here were on sale for $5 for just about 500 grams at most in this pint. We can grab something like these blueberries here that are going to be $13 for 2 kilograms. So that means that's going to be 500 grams plus 500 grams plus 500 grams plus 500 grams. So this is a much better deal because instead of it being $20 like it would be if it was this product, it's only going to be $13, saving you $7 in the long run by buying frozen.
So all I'm saying there is that basically frozen is just as healthy as fresh. It's frozen at its peak point of ripeness, so it's actually a better option. You don't have to worry about it going bad. You have a much better way to manage your consumption of it as well, because I find whenever my mom would buy grapes or anything in the house, they're gone the next day. Like, I would just destroy them. So it kind of has you able to adjust how much you're consuming at a time. Some extra things I just wanted to go over.
How many people know about the different vegetables that are available to kind of go in place of potatoes? They can even be more affordable. One option is something called jicama, spelled with a J. So jicama, you would just peel it the same way you would a potato, you cut it the same way, and you can just roast it right in the oven, and it will have more nutrition than just a regular potato, and it can be more affordable.
Okay. So again, certain things, especially your root vegetables, it's the same thing that you're going to be doing. Is just peeling it, boiling it, or roasting it. Same thing, but you're going to be getting much more fiber out of it, more vitamin C, and more antioxidants. So it keeps you fuller for a longer period of time, and you're saving money at the same time. So just some kind of tips there. I'm not going to go over the other ones here. I wanted to get into the meal planning part. So when we look at kind of making these changes, you want to look at your overall kind of meal system. So talking to your household about what they want to see and what they're going to have, and mapping it out. So what is everyone's plan? Like, if they feel comfortable sharing, what's their plan for dinner tonight? Does anyone have a plan for dinner? Adam, what's the plan?
I don't know. Crack dinner.
Okay. Because that's what's in the house right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What are we having for
I
dinner?
think we have, we're starting with ground beef.
Okay.
And that's the way we do have to.
These are the two most perfect examples for us to go in this direction. So for Adam right now, it's saying like, okay, well, I got craft dinner. That's what I got kicking around. So there are different ways that we can add in or boost the nutrition of just doing craft dinner, or we can have a game plan if we wanted to pivot. For Diane, like, if you were going to say maybe more of
Which I'm not cooking, by the way.
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
But that's your anchor.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going to be something where it's like, I got ground beef. That's all I know. It's going to be something ground beef related. That's what's there. You want to make your on-the-fly meals easier because you have other options available. Because right now, you're locked into craft dinner. We know that we have that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have other things in the house, you can sprinkle that and weave that in to round out the meal a little bit. Because what does craft dinner offer in the starch, protein, fat, and fiber?
Maybe starch.
Starch and what else?
Fat.
And fat. Perfect. So we need a little bit of veg and we need a little bit of protein. And they're actually, I use craft dinner as an example in this one, so it's awesome.
I know of ground beef, so I can add to it.
Okay, so we could do like a chili KD, like a chili cheese KD. And then what could be the fiber that you could have with it?
Vitamin C.
Honestly, like, if we have to go with that, fine. Like, I'll take it. What about, like, what fruit or vegetable do you have in the house right now?
I do the same.
Okay. And this is something where it's not about us even like looking at it from like a shameful piece. It's just like, okay, damn, I forgot that I don't have like veggies right now in the house. Or maybe you're somebody who would just rather have something savory at dinner and then maybe something sweet for dessert, like having berries with whipped cream on top. You can separate it as like your dessert option too. But just mapping out your day. You can either do it for 1 day, you can do it for 3 days, or you can do it for 7 days. Depends on the person. Right, John?
No.
Right. John, what are you having for dinner tonight?
Something good?
That's the best answer.
Answer. Yeah.
Something good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll circle back.
Okay.
Okay, so just making sure that you kind of have a little bit of a plan, because no matter what, it's not like it's planning exercise where it's just like, what time am I going to go to the gym? It's not the same. We all need to eat. Like you're going to eventually need to eat. So it's about you deciding what it is, because the more, if you take 1 minute of planning, the amount that you save and the amount of time that you're going to save by having to go and pick up the food is exponential. So it's just about having that little bit of planning. So think about what your anchors are. Like the events in your schedule are typically your anchors. Like if we have to take the kids to hockey, on Thursdays and Fridays, we have a meeting this day over lunchtime. I knew right now that I was going to be doing this over a lunch and learn. I packed extra snacks to have before this so that I could not be starving by the time I have lunch after. So just mapping out the different variables in your day. And then the considerations, like you might be renovating a kitchen, so you don't have access to an oven or a stove. You might not know how to cook with a certain food, so that's off the table too. Like maybe I don't know how to cook ground beef, so I can't be in charge of that. Or I don't know how to cook craft dinner, which I've messed up a few times, so I'm not going to say I'm good at it. And then knowing how many people you're serving. So is it just you that you have to worry about? Is it, we got the cousins coming over, so now we got to feed 12. What's that going to look like and what can I have? Because even from this last week for myself, like on the fly decisions cost so much more. So that's where it's just about having something kind of out of the freezer, thinking about, okay, well, I'll take the chicken out Thursday night so that we can feed everybody Friday, whatever. From a picky eating perspective, I'm not going to go too much into detail just because we're getting kind of close to that time, but recognizing your role. So who's seen this before? Nice. Okay. Shabnam, why is the caregiver's role when to eat and what to eat, and why is it not how much?
Because we're not our children's bodies, so we can also have those cues to know when they're full, when they're not, when they also might prefer a food, be able to tolerate it or not. But we can be consistent in providing something to eat and providing the space to have mealtime for them to have nutrients enter their body, hopefully.
Yes. You're in charge of their routine. So you're in charge of what is offered and when it's offered because you provide that structure. If you're providing craft dinner, some ground beef, and then you have some veggies on the side, they might say, all I'm going to have is craft dinner. I'm not touching ground beef and I'm not touching the veggies. That's okay. Eventually, at some point, they will see you doing it every single day. And like you even think about your earliest times when you were introduced to food, you saw your family members eating it a certain way and you said, I might dabble today. Or it might be next week I'll try it. It took me forever to try bacon as a kid, but I saw my grandpa every single weekend cook up the bacon, smell the bacon. I liked the smell, but I was so scared to try it. It was all slippery and weird, and then it gets cooked and it's crispy, and it was just something disgusting. And then eventually you try it. So just getting kids to go at their own pace makes them more empowered versus feeling like they have to yell and scream and kind of fight for their own decisions. Okay. You crushed that answer though. So for picky eating, just some extra kind of health tips is just making sure kids are hungry before they eat. If you're full, you're going to be more picky. So if you're really hungry, you'll eat about anything. This is like I had on the Zoom call with a kid. I was asking him all his favorite foods, but it was at dinner time. This is at my other job. It was at dinner time. He's like, oh my gosh, stop talking about food. I'll eat anything. Because he's hungry. And we're talking about food and he's excited about it. So he was like, I'll eat celery. I'll do whatever you want. Just stop talking about food. I want to eat. Because he's hungry. So that's something that helps. If kids have access to snacks, it's just going to tank their appetite. The second thing is just making sure that you eat with the kids, because sometimes, oh, yeah?
I have a question about this.
Yes.
So, hungry before eating. So, some of us, we work until whatever time, and we go home, and then whichever parent, whichever caregiver person is there first, they start cooking. If your child is ravenous and a cranky human, this may be from experience, and you have to give them snacks in order, because you don't have a meal. Like ideally you would have the food ready and they would be ready to go and they could have that instead of different snacks. But how can you ensure that they're still a bit hungry and while still not hangry while you're cooking dinner?
So we're going to pull a Catherine Thomsen move here. And she goes into the fridge. This is my mom. She goes into the fridge and she finds whatever fruit or vegetable needs to go soon. So oftentimes it was peppers. And what she would do is, while my sister and I are just hanging on her, being like, when is dinner? Hurry up. She would quickly cut these up and toss them on the table with a dip. We would destroy these because we were so hungry. So it's about using a food that touches on another value. So maybe you want to save money to get something out of the house, but also taking advantage of the fact that your child is hungry at that time and introducing the food that they maybe are a little bit less adventurous with. It's like, if you're so hungry, you might want to try this right now. Because they're so hungry, and they also are anxious because they want to be around you, they want to sit down, they want the next thing to start. It's kind of almost like an ADHD piece, or just like more of a sensory need of like, okay, I know that dinner's coming, but I don't know what to do in this time right now. So emotional regulation. So sitting down at a table, having something in front of them that's new and exciting and takes their attention. Then whatever your partner or whoever else is cooking has to make, they don't really even need to be worried about the veggie piece as much anymore. They can just make, could be meat and rice. They can do craft dinner with some other kind of protein to it, and they don't actually have to worry about the veg anymore. So that can kind of be breaking up the meal a little bit with something else. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would just use it as their time to have a new food. And then the last thing is offering sweet foods last. So if I have something sweet, it changes my palate. So this is what comes down to just the way our taste buds change with sweetness. If I decide to have candy and then have broccoli, that broccoli is going to be 7 times more bitter now. Especially if you offer juice or cookies before a meal, the kid will be much more selective in what their choices are, and just the bitter foods are going to taste more bitter. And you can even try this on yourself. If you taste something sweet and then try to have a vegetable, it's going to taste much more bland or bitter than if you just had the vegetable first. So try to have that. So this is just me kind of mapping it out. Like, let's just say that I can get the kids to make their own breakfast for Monday to Thursday, because I'll just have some stuff out where they can make their own cereal and whatever. They'll get lunch at school, so I'm not worried about that. But we know that we have baseball Sunday, or baseball on Monday. We need to pack some things in the car. So that might be when you are grocery shopping on Saturday and Sunday, you buy some travel-friendly snacks to have in the car for baseball night. So it's just helping you out, instead of you being like, oh my gosh, we gotta go McDonald's, go through the drive-thru, pick something up really quickly. Like, it's just gonna cost a lot in the long run. So, I like just making a theme of a night. If you really are just like, I have too much decision fatigue, just having like, okay, it's Meatless Monday, it's Taco Tuesday. We don't have to have the same tacos every Tuesday, but it's just Taco Tuesday no matter what. Friday night could be make your own pizza night. It's just, you have less decisions about like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to make for dinner. It's just, no, it's already set in stone. Tuesdays are for tacos. Or hamburger soup is every Sunday night. That's just locked in. Does anyone else have does anyone have their kind of go-to night? What's yours?
I think it's Indian taco night. Usually that falls on the weekend because the kids prefer I make the chili rather than my husband. So it's always either Saturday or Sunday is always Indian taco night, where I make the fried bread too. So.
And it's something that kids really love when they have some sense of certainty. Like, oh, I can't wait to look forward to that. Because when you do have maybe a new meal that you try out and they're like, they know that they're going to get Indian taco night later that week. It's like, okay, I'll truck through this so that I get Indian taco night. So that's awesome. So this is me filling out that a little bit more now. So maybe we say that we're going to do tacos on Tuesday. We're going to make our own pizzas on Friday nights. We have a traditional kind of breakfast Saturday morning, things like that. This is the grocery list that I'm going to skip this part just for time. But these are some like ideas for just making some meals. So Adam, like if you're making craft dinner, you could have a can of beans kicking around in the pantry. When you are boiling the noodles, you could be boiling the beans with it. You don't have to boil canned beans, but you could just do that. And you could actually boil it with the butternut squash, and then you just toss the KD powder and butter all together. You're done. So that's a high fiber mac and cheese idea. This is tofu. So what you can do is just like rip it apart, and you're gonna boil it with the fettuccine noodles, with the frozen cauliflower, all in the same pot. They're all getting boiled together. And then you just throw on your Alfredo sauce and you're done. And then the other one is like if you have some instant noodles kicking around, and if you had some hard-boiled eggs, and then you can just blend up a veggie sauce that it can just be the broth that's going into all of it, but nobody really has to taste it. It's just like a pureed carrot mix, or it could be butternut squash, or it could be chopped tomatoes, whatever you have can just go into the soup mix. So those are just some quick options. These are the other ones that I wanted to pass around. So these are kind of new products, but this is like a high protein pasta. It's not a bean pasta that's going to make you super gassy and musical. And then this is buckwheat noodles. So buckwheat noodles only take 5 minutes to boil. This only takes 5 minutes to boil. You boil these in the same pot. This is your starch. This is your high protein noodle. Done. You just have to add some vegetables. That's it. So this is Paige is getting back from a ski trip next week, and it's gonna be late on Sunday. This is what she's gonna make. So little things like that can be easy just for quick and easy lunches. But I just wanted to go over that a little bit.
One thing to kind of take a peek at is if you're going to be making a meal this day, you can use products that have the 50% off to use for the family for big meals. These little pizza crusts are great for making own personal pizzas. You can just put on some tomato sauce, some cheese, and season it the way that you like for a quick and easy meal that's going to be much more affordable than going to get pizza out.
The reason I went over that one is that we actually had to order pizza Friday, and that cost $75 for 3 pizzas. I could have just bought that pack and just bought like 2 of those. Like, let's just say being really outrageous that cost $10 for just the flatbreads. Then I buy the pizza sauce. Let's say that's another $5. Then I buy the cheese. Let's say it's $8. Like, we're doing a block of cheese on this bad boy. were now like $18, and then I have maybe like a pre-made meat. Maybe I buy ham, pineapple, whatever it might be. I could outrageous prices. I could do $30 and feed way more people and have a much more nutritious option there. So that's just like if I can hit a grocery store, it takes 5 minutes to buy those foods, take them home, and then quickly prepare them. You're just broiling them in the oven. It would even take a shorter amount of time than delivery or picking it up in Cochrane and then coming back. So that's where it's just, if you're really on a budget, that you have some options. So I don't know if this was helpful at all today, but just some kind of ideas to get everybody started. Is there any questions on the chat?
No, we don't have any questions.
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Paige.
Thank you. My cards are here just for if you need to find cards for just ideas, because we'll go over like individual things too if families want to meet with me.